Okay, we're getting started here in just a minute. Just making a few last minute changes to this presentation. Hope you like it. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about librarians in the new bibliographic universe, specifically that of intellectual property and copyright in digital libraries. The core competency I'm going to be drawing from is 1G, and that is the legal framework within which libraries and information agencies operate. That framework includes laws relating to copyright, privacy, freedom of expression, equal rights, and intellectual property. The International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions states that a dual responsibility is assumed to both the producers of intellectual property and to libraries as representatives of information users. Safeguarding and providing access to products of the mind are fundamental to the growth of knowledge. With the rise of digital repositories, librarians are now in a new era of information storage and production. An interesting predicament is presented regarding legal issues and intellectual property. Libraries have operated under the Copyright Act of 1976, which grants rights to both libraries as institutions and their users. However, change is underway of rights in the digital environment. Although even in this new environment, libraries are not regulated by copyright, but they have been recognized or thought of as leaders to crystallize the incentive and natural rights impulses of copyright regimes in the United States and Europe. Technological innovations have brought new rights to inhibit content and control access with ambivalence about how to carry out new policies. International law does not provide answers to this problem. As outlined in the Berne Convention, issues are to be resolved at the national level subject to the three-step test. Since there is no explicit legislative protection or rule, libraries are treated more as users of information rather than facilitators within the copyright system.
I think we have a number of books you could use. Would you like me to help you find something?
Would you?
And while we're about it, perhaps I could show you a few things about how to use a library efficiently.
I guess there are a few things I could learn.
Let's begin at the card catalog.
So anytime we hear the words fair use, really that's, at least in a library situation, is a legal tool that has been used by librarians to navigate the tension between promoting accessibility of knowledge and acting within intellectual property rights and copyright rights. In determining whether or not a use falls under fair use, the court applies a balancing test to determine whether a particular use of copyrighted material is, well, fair. Those elements that they're usually going to look for are the purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of commercial nature or is for non-for-profit educational purposes, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole, the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Basically, the court is looking to see if the use is in some way transformative and whether the new work is used appropriately and the amount of the allegedly infringed work to accomplish its transformative effect. Digital resources, too, are subject to fair use, but risk management becomes more of an issue within this new information environment. Being that digital information is more accessible, increased is the likelihood of infringement, as it increases the probability that the potential market and/or value of the work will be decreased. Issues also arrive when discussing metadata, surprisingly enough. Metadata remains the primary protection for librarians as information providers, but given its accessible nature, unique copyright questions are posed. Specifically, the issues that, run the risk of occurring when dealing with metadata are linkability and infringement from downstream sources. So essentially, if data were to be linked from a source that infringed upon a copyright policy, machine-readable language could not tell that it was pulling that particular material or that data. Also is the risk of infringements within metadata itself. This infringement would come into risk with more descriptive or creative metadata. Anytime, say, a record would have a large excerpt from a work that may prevent one, say, from purchasing that item or going to other measures to procure it, that is when we would run into this issue. This also begs the question, is metadata copyrightable? So even though information really has no borders now, there still are going to be issues within sharing that information due to copyright policy. Issues arise with differing policies among states. With all the policies of countries combined, there are about 17,000 combination of copyright laws that libraries must act in accordance to. Uncertainty and risk assuredly hampers international projects due to the potential of copyright infringement. This will only become more of an issue as information sharing and automation makes resources more readily available to our neighbors.
Thousands of Macintosh computer owners, and the Mac even gets its own computer show here in San Francisco. Is the Macintosh the computer for the rest of us? And who are the rest of us? We'll find out next as we take an in-depth look at the Macintosh on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
So, what are some solutions to this problem? How will libraries adapt in the new bibliographic universe? Well, libraries must recognize that they are not immune to copyright liability. In this new digital age, librarians must successfully navigate the risks of copyright policy and law. In many instances, this will call for heavy fact-based analysis while also providing efficient, accurate, and accessible information to users. In D.L. Hoffman's paper, Whose Data Is It Anyway, are listed 3 principles: limiting use and reproduction of likely infringing material, ensuring that the use of copyrighted materials is within the fair use doctrine, and maintaining awareness of the rights and license statutes of metadata obtained from outside sources. The challenge, of course, lies in balancing these risk management principles with ensuring that end users can access resources efficiently and accurately. So those solutions are, I would say, more of grassroots solutions that would take place within the library, which by all means are very, very important. However, there are also some other solutions that can happen at a bigger level or a more comprehensive level. The World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO, is a UN body based in Geneva, Switzerland. This organization is known for such great hits as the Berne Convention, or the 3-step test, as I mentioned earlier. This body consists of 191 members or states, and they focus on copyright, trademark, design rights, geographical indications, traditional knowledge, and cultural expression. This body has the ability to negotiate new treaties that would create a consistent groundwork within the copyright system, rather than policies varying at national level and analyzed on case-by-case basis. History shows, though, that WIPO, their new laws and policies, they take a long time. So really, where this issue is going to have to be addressed is within the libraries and those grassroots solutions that I mentioned.